junior secondary school. Question to be put.
Honorable members, as debate had concluded on that matter, I now put the question. That aware that Article 43(1)(f) of the Constitution, as read together with the Article 53(1)(b), entitles every child to free, quality, and compulsory basic education, and cognizant of the fact that access to funding for education immensely contributes to the realization of universal access to basic education in the country. Appreciating that Section 48 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, NGCDF Act of 2015, establishes education bursary schemes for every constituency towards access to the basic education, and noting that Section 48A of the NGCDF Act further allows for affirmative action mechanisms of allocating additional funds to cater for the education, bursary schemes, and other teaching and learning-related activities. Concerned that the NGCDF Act caps allocation to bursary schemes under the fund at not more than 35% of the total constituency allocation in a financial year, thereby limiting the number of cases that may be supported to access basic education. Further concerned that the NGCDF board only been approving bursary support for the secondary and tertiary education and not primary schools, and the recently created junior secondary schools, cognizant of the fact that failing to extend bursaries to primary and junior secondary schools on the assumption that the two levels of education are free, in quotes, is a misnomer, since the government's capitation per pupil is inadequate to cater for the mandatory materials required for the competency-based curriculum, also known as CBC, thereby affecting pupils whose parents are unable to meet their attendance costs. Deeply concerned that continued exclusion of allocation of bursary to primary and junior secondary schools violates the provisions of Article 27 of our Constitution and slows down the attainment of the universal basic education in Kenya. Now, therefore, this House resolves that 1. The education bursary schemes under Section 48 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, Act of 2015, be extended to support learners in primary and junior secondary schools to cater for competency-based curriculum requirements. And 2, pursuant to Section 48 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, Act of 2015, the NGCDF board in each constituency approves additional allocation to the education bursary scheme in order to support for teaching and learning related associated with CBC education, including school feeding programs. And finally, the government revises the capitation per student in primary schools from the current 1,420 per year to at least Kenya shilling 7,760, being the minimum optimal capitation, factoring the new CBC education system and the prevailing high cost of living. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order. Yes, they definitely were not in the chamber. That's why I ignored them. Yes, what's your point of order, Honorable CHEPKONGA?
Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 87. Madam Speaker, is it in order for members of Parliament who have not logged in to vote when they are outside Parliament? Isn't that disorderly, Madam Speaker? They should be ruled out of order. Because you can't be shouting, you have not even heard the question, they have just seen you. It is no voting by seeing, it is voting by hearing.
You're very correct, Honorable CHEPKONGA. They were actually before the bar, so they were not yet in the House, hence the reason why I ignored them. Let's proceed. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. Expansion of drug and substance abuse rehabilitation centers. Resumption of debate.
Honorable members, on this particular motion, we have a balance of 1 hour, 2 minutes, and I think Honorable Kathleen Omayo, member for Busia County, had a balance of 2 minutes. She's not in, so I'll just go on and follow the list as I have it. The Honorable Member for Malava constituency, Honorable Moses Ijendi.